Oh, yeah. Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and others who shall remain nameless. Yeah, you can see the sun just coming up there. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Absolutely. And I'm heading down to the bus to go to work. Oh, squirrel. Yeah, squirrel. Anywho. So yeah, this is the neighborhood. The neighborhood that I will be moving away from very, very soon because, yeah, I'm buying a house. Buying a house is a hell of an involved and complicated process. It is. It is complicated. And I'm discovering that it's a royal pain in the ass. Yeah. But I'm going to have a backyard. I'm going to have a backyard. And I won't be making videos on a balcony anymore. I'll be making them in a backyard. Yes. Oh, yeah. Major lifestyle change. Yes, the tenant slash renter lifestyle that I have been living for most of my adult life is about to be abandoned in favor of the homeowner lifestyle. Yes. Hey, yeah, so I'm getting toward the end of my shift and I expect to be going home fairly soon. Good morning. Morning tea. Mm. Morning tea. Ah, yeah. So, Diaper Donnie has once again started making threats about annexing Canada and making us the 51st state. And yes, his lapdog in the north, Pierre Poilievre, is cheering for him. But I wonder how many people know the underlying reason for this. It has to do with an incident that took place the first time around when he was president, and he and Justin Trudeau were both at a peace conference or an economic conference, I forget which, in France, in Paris. And both of Donald Trump's wives, Melania and Ivanka, got a little bit frisky with our dear Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, which led to Trudeau becoming the second Canadian Prime Minister named Trudeau to bang the wife of a serving American president. Yeah, because his father cleaned Nancy Reagan's pipes very nicely. Yes. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. The difference, of course, being that Cowboy Ron literally had no idea what was going on because, well, he thought it was all a movie. He was fucking senile as hell, so he just said, "Oh, it's part of the movie." Yeah. But Diaper Don, well, He's very aware of the fact that his property, yeah, hopped into bed with Justin Trudeau in France. Yeah. At least one, if not both, of his wives went for a shag with Justin Trudeau. And if it weren't for that fact, Diaper Donnie probably wouldn't even know that Canada existed. Well, there is the reality that the Conservatives, the federal Conservatives, have been striving to become an American state now for decades. And yes, incidentally, Brian Mulroney also had an uncomfortable relationship with Cowboy Ron, because Mulroney legislated Canada into utter dependency upon the American empire in order to show his loyalty to his master in Washington. Rather the same way that Stephen Harper tried to show his loyalty to his master in Washington, and yes, Pierre Poilievre is showing his loyalty to his master in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. Something to think about. Something we should all be thinking about. And another thing we should be thinking about is taking a firearms safety course here in Canada. If you are between the age of 16 and 65, you're a man or a woman or a dog, you should take the firearms safety course. And it's reasonably priced. And yes, you can save up enough money to take the course. And once you've taken the course and you've gotten a passing grade, very important to get a passing grade. Once you've taken the course and passed the course, you should apply for a PAL permit. And you should research a good rifle for which there is plentiful, cheap ammunition. Now, my personal preference is the SKS because the 7.62x39 is cheap and plentiful here in Canada. However, you may be of a more patriotic bent and think in terms of getting yourself a Lee Enfield. They're nice, they're good, they're reliable. The ammunition is expensive, but if you can afford it, by all means go for it. If you're really rich, you can even find yourself a Ross. Same caliber, .303. Two very patriotic Canadian rifles. But for those of you of a more pragmatic bent, the Spanish Mauser in 7mm is often modified to .308 caliber. And while 7mm is ridiculously overpriced, .308 is cheap. Not as cheap as SKS ammo, but it is reasonably affordable. Yeah. What we need here in Canada is to start manufacturing ammo again. Domestically. In a caliber that is widespread among hunters, farmers, and loyal patriotic Canadians. As well as casual target shooters. Get yourself a bug-out bag and practice camping. Go out for a couple weekends camping in the woods. And I'm not talking about taking a trailer to a trailer park. I'm talking about taking a sleeping bag and a ground sheet into the woods. Yeah, do that. Go deep, go for a weekend, go for another weekend, and go for a week. Get together with some friends who share the belief that Canada is a real country and that we should be getting ready to protect that real country from all threats, both foreign and domestic. Foreign, Dumpy Don, and domestic, Pierre Poilievre. Yes. Yeah. Does anybody else miss when conservatives were about God, King, and country and not sucking up to the Americans? I miss that. We need some conservative loyalists back in this country. Our head of state's name is Charles Windsor, aka King Charles III, not Donald J. Trump. Our effective head of state is Prime Minister Carney. And while I don't personally like him, he's what we've got. And better him than an arch traitor like Pierre Poilievre, that's for sure. Yeah. So yes, find your local gun club, your local hunting club, your local outdoors club. Find out from them who's giving the firearms safety course. Get a hold of that person. Enroll in the safety course. It's quite affordable. Take the course, pass the course, study for the course first, of course. Course, of course. Excuse me, sorry. Having a Dr. Seuss moment. Yeah, I've been reading Dr. Seuss lately. Yeah. But I digress. Definitely take the course. You can afford it. You can afford it because the alternative is potentially not having a country. And if you have loved ones who have health concerns, you want to make sure that they have the ability to access Canadian health care rather than having to buy American health care. Because, let's face it, first thing the Americans will do if they take over is they will privatize all our hospitals and make our health care into a money-making business, a commodity that is only available to the rich. Kind of like what they've done in their own country and what they did in Iraq. Yeah. Which brings me to another point. For those of you who say, but they're our friends, I would just have you know that everybody in Iraq was saying the same thing from 1978 until 1990. And their president continued to say, but they're our friends, for several more months after that, before the bombs started to rain down on Baghdad. America's friendship is very conditional. And the reality is that more Americans know that Canada exists today than knew that Iraq existed 40 years ago, 35 years ago. Yeah. That's cause for concern, especially when one considers that Diaper Donnie needs a war if he's going to get away with his next stunt, which is, yep, declaring himself president for life. And I'm predicting it. And if it doesn't happen, I will apologize, but I'm pretty sure that it will. And his worshipers will support him 100% on that. Yeah. But in any case, yeah. Get your PAL permit, buy yourself a good rifle, join a shooting club or a hunting club or an outdoors club of some sort. Practice at their practice range regularly and often. Get good. Learn to be able to hit at 100 meters a palm-sized target. Learn how to build a concealed camouflaged firing position. And learn how to live outdoors. If you're between 16 and 65 and a Canadian citizen and love your country, of course, if you're between 18 and 35, you should probably be finding your way to a recruiting station and enlisting. And this goes for everybody. And I realize that some of you don't feel very Canadian because, yes, thanks to the prevalence of American anti-you propaganda, you have been rejected and declared to be not a real Canadian by a lot of conservatives. Well, now you need to enlist and show those bastards that, yes, you are a real Canadian. And just because you or your parents fled from a country where people are a little bit more melanin enriched doesn't make you any less a Canadian citizen. Enlist, volunteer, sign up, and if you're rejected and they make excuses, go to the press. Tell the press that the Canadian Army is rejecting you because you are an immigrant or the child of immigrants. Make a big stink about it. Get into the military and train. And make sure the conservatives know and understand that, yes, you are a Canadian. Yes, you are a Canadian.